Good evening, televiewers. Welcome to on my Midi Prime. This evening, we're going to be answering a question whether you would kill a partner because they contaminated you with a deadly disease, or if you discover that they had a gross lie towards you. For example, you are living with a woman with her daughter in the house who told you that it was a family relations, or you're living with a woman with say 4 kids who are actually the children of your neighbor without telling you, only for you to discover during a DNA test. What would you do? And also, if you were to find out that your wife actually got you contaminated with HIV, a situation that was not when you people got married, and vice versa, what would you do? Would you kill them? Would you divorce? Would you abandon your home? Or how do we reconcile such a situation? We also are going to be looking at what kills romance and affection in marriage relationship. I would advise change that sex to romance and affection in marriage. What are those factors that kill romance and affection in marriage? Do well to change it, Eli. We are going to be discussing on these 2 topics with our panelists who are in the house already. Apostle Ambe Valentine Ngwa is our permanent consultant. Good evening and welcome.
Good evening, Mr. Leo. Good evening, my co-panelists. Good evening, Cameroonians, and welcome to today's edition of Prime Hour. A very good topic. I think we're going to deliberate on that.
Apostle, if Alfred Esingie is also in the house with us this evening. Good evening, Apostle.
Good evening, Mr. Leo. Good evening, my fellow panelists. Good evening, Apostle Ambe. Madam Henrietta, I greet you. Thank you for coming again today. Today is another day. Please just tune and stay glued on your TV. You're going to learn a lot of things today from this place.
Madam Henrietta Fontinglet is in the house with us again. I don't know whether it's another day to celebrate. We're glad to have you. You come and disappear.
Thank you, Mr. Leo. It's always a privilege to be here to discuss sensitive issues about our marital and relationship lives, because the health of every nation begins from healthy marriages, healthy relationships. If we don't have them, then we cannot boast of a healthy nation and a society and even a church. So, good evening again to the apostles in the house, Madam Esingie all the way from Bamenda. It's always a privilege to be in your midst. I'm glad to be around again. You stay tuned as we ride on.
Ms. Esingie, Yvette is also going to be contributing on this edition of the program from Bamenda. Always glad to hear from her, share her experiences and know-how when it comes to relationship and marriage. We will start with you, Apostle Ambe Valentine Ngwa. Now, infectious infections means spouses did not know their health situations at the time of marriage, or how do we understand that you people are living together, or you are into a relationship, for one to discover that they have been infected by the other?
Mr. Leo, to begin with, we have to understand that in most cases, before people get married, there are certain tests they carry out to ascertain the health condition of both parties. So we are talking in a case where these parties knew very well that none of them had any infection, none of them had any disease, any virus in their system, and then along the line, the marriage, one finds out that he's gotten an infection or a virus and transmitted it. I'm going to be analyzing this thing from different flanks. Let me begin by first of all saying that you took a vow in sickness and in health, for richer or for poorer. So when you get married to somebody, you are ready to welcome anything that the person comes along with. It must not be HIV. It could be tuberculosis that you contacted from the air and you brought the person carried it. It's the same way you can bring any other sickness. So you must understand that when you get married to somebody, you took a vow to stand with the person, to carry his sickness, carry his death, till death do you part. That's a vow you took. Now, as much as I'm not promoting the idea that people should go out and get infected and bring into their homes, we must also understand that some diseases are not transmitted only sexually. Somebody can be contaminated with HIV through a syringe. Some can be contaminated through rusted materials. It must not be only through sexual intercourse. So we cannot ascertain through which method the sickness came into your system before you transmitted it into the system of your partner. Killing somebody because the person infected you with a disease, a virus, or whatever you may call it, is out of order. You are taking the law into your hands, because even when we are in marriage, sometimes your partner will have catarrh running through the nostrils and still wants to kiss you. They will kiss you and you will carry that catarrh. If you can carry catarrh, then be ready to carry HIV, to carry hepatitis, to carry every other disease, because you vowed to spend the rest of your life with that person in any condition they find themselves. That's the reason why it is sometimes very difficult to sit close to somebody who is coughing, but it is easy to kiss your partner when the person is coughing. It is difficult to sit close to somebody who is having catarrh, but sometimes you sit and even kiss your partner that has catarrh. People may run away from your partner because they have hepatitis, but you may even stand there to bait the individual in question. Somebody can have a contagious disease as a partner, others will run away, but because of your love for your partner, you signed a vow, you took a vow to stand with each other under any circumstance. We condemn with every strength in us the idea of people cheating out of their home and bringing sicknesses and diseases in the home. But the truth is, there is no way you will throw away a partner because the person finds himself in a very terrible health condition. You are supposed to stand with the person till death do both of you part. So to me, that's the foundation I will lay for now before we delve into other issues. Know that you took a vow and understand that sicknesses cannot only be transmitted through sexual intercourse. HIV, as the subject matter for today, can be transmitted through errors in the hospitals, through syringe, through rusted materials, metals. You can have HIV. So you cannot conclude that because your partner has HIV, they got it through cheating.
You hold the same opinion? For example, you got married to someone, either you are the lady, you got married to a man who was HIV negative, or the man who gets married to a woman who is HIV negative, and suddenly in the course of the relationship, one is tested positive after and discovers that they got it from the partner.
While I also don't want to stigmatize and try to make people suffering from these particular diseases to feel as if they are the worst kind of people, I always want to make people to understand that some of these things usually happen in marriages. Now, you may be assuming that it's coming from your partner, while it can come from you. It can be from you, since there are other methods and other ways where people can contact certain diseases. You may be thinking that it's your partner while it is you. But obviously, we know that the rate of cheating today in our society is alarming. Very, very alarming. Highly alarming. And, you know, especially the women, they cheat these days too much. And you can't even know that they are cheating, you know. You can't even catch them. You can't even know that they are cheating. At least the men, you can easily catch them that they are cheating in one way or the other, because you see their attitude and their behavior to some things. But the woman will cheat and you will not even know. You will not even know. So some of these things, you know, she may go do her thing and then come back, and then you, the man that is very active, you know, playing with people and talking with people, at the end of the day, they may think that you are the one that contaminated the other persons. Now, we even see situations where people get married and then the test they carry out was not properly done. That test was not properly done in many cases. We have seen people that they apologize to them that we are sorry. The test they did to you was a mistake. We have seen people that did tests and they said they were HIV positive and it was a mistake. And then we have seen situations where they have taken another person's result and given to another person, and there Later on, they discover that it was a mistake. So people can also go to get married, and they go to even test themselves, and that thing is not seen at that time. Then they begin to manifest later on in marriage. These things are everywhere. It's no more like when we talk about it, you can think that maybe it's a Nigeria movie or something. No, it happens almost every day, everywhere now. That you see people go to the hospitals and the doctor says that nothing is wrong. After they check the laboratory test, everything is proving negative. But you are dying. You are dying. You are sick. You are terribly sick. You are dying. And I know many of you can testify. And many pastors have taken that as an advantage to say that it is witches and wizards or one thing or the other. But I want to say that most of our machines in our hospitals are outdated. Some of them don't even see those things that are there, and some of them produce false results in some cases. So now you assume that you have done your test properly, only for you to enter your marriage and discover later on in life that some things are surfacing that you don't know where they are coming from. You cannot be hasty to conclude. You cannot conclude very fast. You cannot also say very fast that this person cheated or that person cheated, or this person brought it to me or that person brought it to me. You cannot be hasty. You cannot be fast to do it. And that's why I say that a lot of people are very fast to do some things, because some of them just think of how to kill the other person. Some of them think of how to divorce. Some of them think of how to do some miserable things that you cannot imagine. But we want to say that it has been proven that some of these results, you need to redo them. You need to do them again, sometimes 2-3 times, in order to confirm. And then it should not only be in one hospital. It should go to different hospitals where they'll be able to ascertain whether that sickness is true or false. And then we have to say that if in case there's that particular thing, you have discovered that it is in both of you, or because in some cases it is tested, 2 of them are tested and 1 is positive and the other one is not positive, but they have been sleeping together. We have seen those kind of cases that the 2 couples are there, 1 is positive and 1 is negative. It is very, very common. We don't know how biologically, maybe scientifically they can prove that, but we also know that some people have some systems that cannot easily accommodate those kind of viruses in their system, and something, one thing or the other. So we want to say that in looking into these things, we have to judge into many platforms. You need to look from many angles before you come to a conclusion. What is that conclusion you made before you could discover that that thing came but through this person or whatever? But sometimes you know that people can also confess. They can also tell you that, sorry, I went and slept with a lady and this lady was HIV positive and I contracted this particular disease. And sometimes people have to be very frank enough to be able to confess those things and open up and say that this is what I did and this is what is the consequence that came upon me. And in some cases you will see a man who refuse that he's not going to sleep with the woman for almost 1 year, and you will not know why the man is doing that. It may just be because he tested himself and discovered that he was like that. And sometimes he may not even test himself, but the lady he slept with may have confessed and opened up that she is HIV positive, and the man also just conclude that since that girl is positive, I am also positive. So he doesn't go to the hospital and he started lamenting, and he starts, lamenting and saying all kinds of things. These are probabilities. The society today is very technical and complex. Don't conclude on certain issues and start taking drastic decisions which are going to only hurt you the more and hurt your family. It is always good to make findings. It is always good to be detailed and calm, to be able to make assessments where some things are coming from and how they came about, so that you don't go and begin to do some things. Like I said, those who confess some of those things, it may just be a confession. If they go to the hospital and test themselves, they may finally see that they are not even infected. Okay. That's the kind of thing.
Without Fontinglet, how do we even discover that we have been infected? Is this also a wake-up call for parties to ascertain the medical or health conditions of each of the partners that are engaging into a relationship, and on the need for constant medical checkups to be done? Because for one to accuse the other of having infected them, it means they went for a medical checkup and discovered.
Yeah, apparently and obviously, It must have been that they were checked. They went for a medical checkup, and then they discovered that there was a problem. One person has been infected in one way or the other, which we are not here to discourage people from regular medical checks. Rather, we are here to encourage people, which is one of those things that you cannot want to look down on it in your relationship, in your marriage. Being it at the point when you're about to get into marriage or you're already married. You know, most times we are always in the mind of wanting to assume that no, my partner cannot cheat, I cannot cheat, we can't. Just like the apostle said, there are several ways we get infected. It's not only through sexual intercourse. People get infected, for instance, something like, you want to talk about hepatitis B, you sit beside somebody who has it and sweat, you can actually contact it from that person. So there is need for that. When it comes to, for those who are yet to get into marriage, those are some of the prerequisites and the things that when you go through counseling, you'll always be advised to go through. You must do those medical checks to be ensured that the person with whom you want to get into a marital relationship does not have a medical history which you are not informed or you have not been, you do not know, and sooner or later you find yourself wanting. It is very essential. Like, it's an aspect you don't want to overlook it. One of the things you must put in your agenda when you want to get married to somebody, it's knowing the medical situation of that person, knowing the health situation of that person. So you go for your medical checkups before you are thinking about getting together, having sexual intercourse and all of that. And even when you're married already, it's advised that as couples, once in a while, why not every year, why not once every 6 months, you both go to the hospital, you run some tests and be sure that you are okay, that everything is well with you, and that will prevent some sicknesses from becoming very chronic in your system before you get to know them, and which is going to cause some very negative effects in your marriage. So it's very important, as important as that. Unfortunately, the society in which we live today, people are not that patient. They are not patient enough, especially at the point where they want to get married to. The moment you see a girl, you want to get to know her sexy body, you are carried by the beauty, you're carried by the straight legs, you're carried by the breast you see, you're carried by the color. You forget to understand that behind or inside that nice body you're seeing, there could be something which is not very healthy for you as a man. So the moment you get to meet a woman, you meet a man, the next thing you think about in your mind is, I want to go to bed with her. You don't bother what comes out from it as a consequence. So you don't judge people by their physical look. There are people with HIV who are looking very, very healthy. They are very good looking, as in you can never suspect that they have an illness. And with all the deadly diseases, they move around, but you cannot know. You don't know what they are actually going through unless you go for a medical checkup. Unfortunately, people don't have that patience. The world today, they do not have the patience. And sometimes some even lack the knowledge. They do not know that it's very important that in as much as this person is this beautiful, I want to have a relationship with them, let me first of all pass through a medical checkup and be sure, let the person be sure about me, let me be sure about that person. That's part of transparency before we get to any sexual relationship. So it is as important as that. Know that that beauty you're seeing might only be facial. It might just be at the first, it might just be the skin, but inside that beauty might be something dangerous to your health. That man you see very handsome, looking healthy, it's not as healthy as you think. Please do well to always ensure there is a medical checkup. You want to get into a relationship of marriage, there are realities in marriage which you only discover when you get married.
Okay. Now, Apostle Ambe, Valentine, Ngwa, we are talking about a situation where she insists that it is nice to know the medical conditions of whoever you are engaging in, but we also know that there are persons who lie about their medical conditions and then get you into their homes. And what would you do in such a situation?
Yeah, in life there are some things we call necessary evils.
Okay.
Necessary evils. I think for you to have loved somebody to the extent of getting married to the person, It means you loved the good, the bad, and the ugly of the person.
Okay.
Yeah, you must have loved the good, the bad, and the ugly of that person. If you successfully got married to the person, then found out later that the person is not as sincere as you thought initially, I think your love for the person should be strong enough to consume that ugly aspect of the person.
Okay.
Yes, it should be strong enough to consume that ugly aspect, because there is no person that walks into a marriage as a perfect individual. Secondly, not everyone that keeps a secret actually wanted to lie. Sometimes they are too jealous of you and love you so much they don't want to lose you. And they will go extra mile to keep a secret just to have you. Because they don't find themselves being comfortable in somebody else's hands. So sometimes people go to such extent, like the case we had of a man who lived with a lady in the house, and the lady's child was told, the man was told that the child they are living with in the house is the sister's child. Then it's after 4 years he realized that the child he's been training all through has been the child the wife gave birth to, brought under the same roof, but pretend that it is a sister's child. And when they get rich, I told the man that he should accept as a necessary evil, and if you consider that child as one of the orphans that he met along his path in life, and he's helping the child become something in life, it doesn't change anything. If you were able to love the person in that ignorance, why would the love change because you heard that information? Is your love fluctuating based on what you hear, or you accept the person the way they are? So those are some of the things. In some cases also, there are persons who are bold enough to disclose their health condition, and the individuals can still love them. I've had a case in my church where a girl disclosed that she's HIV positive. The pastor came and told me that this is what the girl is going through, and I still love her and I want to marry her. That's their decision. According to their faith, I prayed for them, I blessed them, and they got married. So if you put this on a scale, you realize that some people sometimes had information not because they're actually not sincere, but because they are too jealous of what they have as a man or a woman that they wouldn't want to lose the person. So sometimes they keep. We are not promoting the idea of keeping secrets of that sort, because some persons will not be able to handle it after they hear it. They may get disappointed, frustrated, and they may even want to destroy you. But to the extent of somebody taking someone's life, it's an error. There's another thing I want us to address on this platform. When HIV initially came, it was like a stigma. People were ostracized, people were stigmatized, people were rejected with HIV. But with the awareness we have had right now, HIV is like any other sickness. HIV is even sometimes better than malaria that kills within seconds. The medical statistics for the WHO says that at least the number of persons that die in Africa because of malaria are more than those who die of HIV and AIDS. And now you can still successfully live with HIV and AIDS. The only thing is orientation, counseling, and proper medication. That's the only thing. Don't look at yourself having HIV as if you are an alien, as if you are a lesser human being. We've seen HIV women give birth to healthy children. Development has even come to the extent where they don't breastfeed children. Children are not contaminated with the sickness. We've seen HIV women working in associations, organizations, being of greater value to the society than those who are not sick. We've seen HIV men contributing to the society. So it's a sickness. It doesn't stigmatize the individual. When you find such a situation, look for means on how to adapt and accommodate that situation.
Are you saying that if you were to discover that your wife actually deceived you grossly, you just consider that okay?
I love her enough to forgive her for that sin. I love her enough to forgive her for that crime she committed. I'm not forcing my behavior to any other person. If you can't take it, it's your choice. But if you are directing that question to me, I think I love my wife enough to accept.
I'm directing it to you and I'm insisting so that, because the essence of this program is for the audience. You are talking to them.
Yes.
They look up to you as a man of God.
Yes. I love my wife enough to absorb her mistakes, to absorb her crimes. As a matter of fact, if I'm living with my wife and she's not HIV positive, I love her to the extent that if she commits a crime, I'll be willing to go to prison with her. That is the kind of love I have for my woman. And I didn't get married to some perfect person. The issue is we expect a lot from people who cannot deliver. That's why sometimes when they fail, we get so disappointed.
Okay.
We get so disappointed. We are expecting, we have a lot of expectation from people, and then when they don't deliver, we get frustrated. Listen, every human being is a human being.
Okay.
Be neutral with your idea concerning people. As much as I can get the best for you, I can also expect the worst from you. So we are human beings.
So the take home here is, when you are preparing to get married to a woman or a man, be ready for this.
Anything, yes. Be ready.
So we are not getting married to perfect human beings.
You are not getting married to robots. They are not put you remote control. They have their own feeling, have emotion, they have their own challenges. Before you met that individual was going through several things.
Yes.
Getting married to you does not cause those things to disappear immediately. They can still mess up in your presence.
Okay.
You should be ready, as I say, for better, for worst.
Okay.
That word is not an entertainment.
Okay, for better, for worse, I'll take note of this. Apostle, you are going to, because somewhere now, especially in some of this our churches, they say it's for better, for better. There's no words that they say you better for best. You react to that. But let's take the first reaction from Miss Esingie Yvette from Bomena.
Hello, good evening, Mr. Leo. Greetings to my co-panelists, special greetings to our televiewers and to my fans. Mr. Leo, this case in Boya is just one amongst many. We have people who realized later on that they were infected, and maybe they just managed it the way they could. Unfortunately, this guy in Boya could not bear it, so had to get the lady killed. Now, Mr. Leo, this is just to let you know, or to let our viewers know, understand that HIV is real. When I look at how people live recklessly, I mean, with all the singing, we keep singing of HIV/AIDS, even the use of condoms that we even talk about, all of those things, no, people still choose to go and get themselves at risk. You hear things like, I can't suck bonbon inside rapon. Okay, don't suck bonbon inside rapon. Go for what, 1, 2, 3 minutes pleasure and then end your life living with HIV. Mr. Leo, I did my internship. When I was doing internship, I did internship counseling people living with HIV/AIDS. That was psychosocial counseling. I will not mention the hospital, but Mr. Leo, if I tell you what I saw in that hospital, the first week I was in that hospital for counseling, I came back home, I was unable to eat. I was unable to eat. I will come back and weep. Sometimes I just hold myself during counseling. If you see the kind of people that carry HIV virus in them, if they tell you that they are even positive, you will not believe it. So we have healthy carriers. I mean, these are people that have accepted their status and are taking their drugs. But we have people who have denied. We have denial cases. They will deny that they are not positive, and they'll go about moving about, spreading it, living their life anyhow, and tomorrow, before you know it, the viral load has tripled. But when you see people who are taking their drugs, they are actually suppressing the viral load. Because having HIV, you can have HIV, but another person has HIV and yet cannot infect somebody. Now, when we say somebody has HIV and cannot infect somebody, it means they have taken their drugs to the level where the viral load is inactive. The person remains positive, but at that stage, they could even bring forth children who are not positive. So people live with HIV. HIV has become part of our society today, that's true. And it is no longer something that kills. But I think what kills the more is just the trauma, the stigmatization that comes with it. Because if you see how people come to take their HIV drugs at the hospital, they don't want anybody to see them. They feel really bad if you happen to see them and you know them. You know, it becomes a difficult thing for them. So the stigma and the trauma that comes with it is what even kills people. But then what we are saying is that HIV is real. So it was just wicked for this lady in particular to choose to spread it. I've handled cases where people are positive, but they tell me that even though someone infected me, doesn't mean I should go about spreading it too. They have chosen to accept their status, go on drugs, and all of that. But what I'm trying to say is that I want these youths the kind of reckless living that youths are living today, Mr. Leo. Sometimes when I think of the kind of generation that is coming up, or the days ahead, I begin to worry. It's like we'll end up having a society where almost everybody is positive. Like I said, I did internship at the hospital counseling people living with HIV/AIDS. Mr. Leo, it was unbearable for me. You see a beautiful girl like this, you can even put fufu on her body like this and eat. But what she's carrying in her system. So it traumatized me. It even traumatized me as a counselor. 1 week was not easy for me. I could not even eat. And then that's when I realized that truly HIV is out there. I came back and I had to tell my husband, I said, please go and buy your shaving machine. When I go to do my nails, I buy my cuticle. I don't use an old cuticle, whether you have to use a spirit or not. If I'm doing my hair in the salon, I go with my needles. So, Mr. Leo, I think we thank God for programs like this where we need to educate the population. HIV is out there. These youths that are living like, they are so reckless, sexually active. When I begin to look at them, Mr. Leo, I fear the kind of generation that we're going to have. You see youths, what they involve in. They involve in group sex. You begin to imagine, that means you have sex with this other person, from there you leave this person, go to the next person, the person exchange and go to the... We did not experience these things in those days. We did not. So the world is getting rotten, and our youths are those that Satan has placed focus on them to destroy their lives through lust and sexual desires.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. The essence here is for us to see how we can understand ourselves and also learn to live with our fault and our acknowledging that we are not too perfect. But are we not into this because of this perfectionist tendency, where you are told that he who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from God? So we are going into marriage with this mindset that everything, once you find a wife, you are obtaining favor from God. And then you are preached the virtuous woman. It's Proverbs 31, 10, from 10 down. Is that not also the mindset? And most churches today, because in the past they'll tell you that we bless you for better, for worse, till death do us part. Today they say for better and best. As so I don't know. God does not do an act so. All these, are these things not also helping us to be where we are today?
Yes, some of those words were put as a liturgy in the church, where people just read to say it. They don't
for better and for best.
Yes, they just read it. They read it from a book. That's why you see some of these things that people write from books, they need to ask some of the questions. Some of those things in books are outdated. They are not modern. They are not meeting up with our day-to-day challenges. That's why I said the research of today should be able to be realistic. It should leave the platform of just a theoretical research to the realities on ground. Let people begin to see what is happening on ground. You know, these things don't work anymore. Many of those things don't work. People can just divorce now anyhow and part and just go anyhow. That better of a best there is not even going to work. The way they are going on, it's not even working. It's not working. We know it. We know it. Pastors themselves will say it. They divorce, they marry another one. So you see how these things are going. Now, I want to say, like some people used to say that you want to marry a girl, it's good that you test her first and all those kind of things. Now, when do they have time to even check these things? You don't check anything. Now we are talking about checking. Most people don't check. You don't check it. How do you check it? Before you want to even take it to the church for pastor to even know about the relationship, people have already bruised the thing well, and you have already chopped the whole thing, and then then the church begin to say now that you people know that you have to do tests now. Then people begin to say yes. You see, the people having full way back. They're having full way. And we too just agree with it because when you see marriage committee today, they will just be so serious about the whole thing. They say, I hope you people you have not stayed yourself. You are not, these people are saying, no, mommy, no, daddy, no, daddy, but they have gone far and even committed abortion out of it. And some of them, they have even gone far to the point where, to even say no to the other person is very difficult. So now you come and you're trying to go through counseling. They're only looking at you as if you're joking, as a clown. Yes, the thing is just like a clown today. So people don't taste these things again. They don't check it. And then finally, when you get married and find yourself in your home and you see these things, you begin to say, no, now infidelity and all this. Infidelity started when? Infidelity started before you even marry. Before you got married, we had already started infidelity. And that is how the thing is going to destroy a lot of people. Now, are we saying that if you find yourself in the situation, you're going to condemn yourself? That's what we are saying. No, you're not going to condemn yourself. But we are saying that people who know that they don't want to find themselves into such situations, they should do everything to avoid it. But can people really avoid it? We want to talk here. Doctors will call us from Amanda and told us that it is not normal that before you marry a woman, you have to first, test your thing. You have to go and listen and you this. And before you want to even test, you don't go to check. That time you're
you are contradicting what we said here. Yeah. You people were the ones who said no, there's no testing. Now you say most people are testing. What are they testing? One over.
That we are not contradicting. We are telling that is how people used to react to us. They react to us when we try to say that avoid this testing before marriage. That you say that you want to do it, because when because this testing usually happen unplanned. They don't usually plan it. You just see this girl, because when somebody is you are trying to woo the person and the person is also trying to get your attention, they bait well. They wear fine dresses, white fine dresses, everything. They wear fine perfume and everything, do their fingernails very well, and they come and sit in front of you in your house, in your room, and then they begin to troll around, touching one thing or the other, and you are looking at their shape, looking at everything. Before you want to see, you are already inside and you have come out, and you first tell yourself it will never happen again. That's how they are saying it will never happen again, and the next time again it happened, they say I will not come to the house again. Before you want to discover, they come to the house. That is how this thing is working, and that's why we are saying that the truth is, are we deceiving ourselves, or we should look for something else to do? Because the church people have written those things in the book, and the truth is, on that day, with that wedding veil on the faces of people, when they know themselves that they are no more holy, they know that they have already break the honey, chop honey, that they are now, which one are they going to go? Sometimes, when you tell people to kiss, you can know the ones that have been kissing before. Okay. Yes. When you tell them that you cannot kiss the bride, you can know the one that have been kissing. Because you will see the way they will kiss that thing. You will think, these people have been doing this thing before.
No. We are talking about a situation where you discover a gross deceit from a partner, or you get infected with a deadly disease by a partner, when before getting married, what you were told is that a virtuous woman, when you meet her, everything turns for your good. It means that all that you are prepared for is a good side of life. And then on the day of your wedding, you are set for better, for best. And lots of spiritual or biblical backings, all are perfect. Do we find people wanting to commit suicide, wanting to kill because they were not prepared for some of these eventualities?
There are a lot of illusions that people build around the concept of marriage, what marriage is all about. First of all, killing somebody for killing your partner, or doing harm on your partner because you were deceived, or because you found out that the person has infected you with a disease. First of all, it's insane. It's insane. There is realities about marriage that you only get to know them when you get married, and that's why it's often said marriage is for mature minds, people who are mature enough to withstand the challenges, the storms that come with it. Boys and girls, they fold around. Men and women get married, And when we talk of getting married, it means they are ready. They understand that marriage is not a bed of roses. It's not all about the sweet and the sugar and all of it. Now, whether it is for better, for best, whether it is for better, for worse. Now, when we talk, or when we say for better or for best, is a concept, it's something the Pentecostal or pastors are coming up with it, which might not be correct according to some people, and they go for the better, for worst. This is the worst that somebody is killing somebody for. You have not accepted the worst. It's supposed to be for better or for worst, but that is the worst that you refuse to accept, and you're killing somebody because of the worst. And I think and I know that when they talk of the better, for best, it's some sort of a prophecy, a positive speaking. By faith, you are trying to pronounce positivity into that relationship. As you get into that relationship, we prophesy that all things should be for your good. All things that happen should be positive. We are not praying for negative. It's not as though that servant of God who has made that pronunciation has cancelled the realities that come with getting married. When you get married as a boy or as a girl, it means you do not know those realities. And when you find them eventually, when you get married, you start agitating. You start acting strange, which is not supposed to be the case. That's why marriage is for mature persons. You say, I'm getting married. Put at the back of your mind that I'm getting into something which I'm ready to bear everything that comes with it. Life itself is a risk. Getting married is more riskier because you're living alone. You run the risk of getting out there. You don't know. You run into a vehicle and you're knocked down. There are a lot of accidents that happen along the way. Marriage too, it is a journey. And in that journey, there are accidents that happen along the way. That somebody fell into adultery and got a sickness or something and brings it back home, and you want to kill that person. It means you did not accept that. Those are some of the things I stand to face because I've accepted to get married. When you are accepting to get married, it means that I have accepted that even if my spouse goes out and mess up and bring back broken pieces, I must mend it. I have to work hand together with my spouse for us to mend it because we have decided to be together. That is marriage. That is the concept of oneness in marriage. It is as though, because if you tell me that your spouse went out, brought in an infection, HIV, and you have to kill or you have to divorce that person because of that, or you need to run away from that and all the like, it means if your spouse goes out and is knocked down by a car and get handicapped, you will run away from that person because by the time you were getting married, that person had no handicap, and you eventually got married and you found out the person has a handicap. It is just like that accident. That's how I see it. It's just like that accident because we are saying this because it has to do with sex out of marriage. And we think that we got married to a saint. We got married. There are so many circumstances that can cause somebody to mess up. And because you messed up does not mean that you have been you need to be stoned to death. It is an error. Unfortunately, while you made that error, you picked up an illness and brought back home. There are people who get married and they are into adultery every day, but they are not infected. They are just lucky or something. They fall into hands or something, or they are careful. I don't know. But you might have your man, your woman, that just for one instant that person brings back an illness. So you want to stone that person to death because of that? I think that that is time for you to show that you were mature when you decided to get married. Okay. So that is the worst part of it, which we are saying that, okay, let's take the better for worst. You have to stand up for that person, and you're like, okay, what do we do? This is, even if you have not been infected and you discover that your spouse is already infected, carries an illness, how do we do? You need to help your spouse out of it. And if God help you, that you all succeed and your spouse is healed, trust me, that person will never do that again.
Yeah, but Apostle, those who would want to run away from the house or threaten to kill the other partner or take similar actions, are they saying that they are saints themselves? Because this could just be a lady who is cheating or a man who is cheating, but because what has come to public notice now is that of the partner.
They were not in love.
Okay.
Initially. They were not in love. If they were actually in love, then I don't think a challenge from one partner will cause another person to start thinking of even running away, talk less of killing the person. I mean, running away initially. What if you are in a house, armed robbers enter and rape your wife in your presence?
Would you divorce her?
Will you divorce her? And the cause of that act, she carries HIV and AIDS. What will you do? Will you send her away for a crime she was tortured, humiliated, defied, and then you look at the situation? All you could do is to add salt to injury by rejecting her, abandoning her. You were initially not in love. I have said it, and I'm still repeating it. Take it or you leave it. If you are truly in love and you actually decided to get married to an individual, we are looking marriage as an affair between a man and a woman. Marriage is a very sacred thing. Marriage is equal to being initiated into a cult. This thing we call marriage is not just what we see being done externally. It has a lot of spiritual implications. And you don't understand that you are entering into an initiation when you are getting married. Because blood is involved. Vows are involved. There are testy fires. And there are people who are also there to witness the event. That is the same thing that happens when you are being initiated into a cult. You take vows. Blood is involved. And there are witnesses there. So marriage is that sacred that you cannot look at it from a physical point of view. It is something you have said, I'm going to die with you. When you make a vow to get married to somebody, you are ready to die with that person. You are ready to enter into any hole the person is going to enter tomorrow. I have said it. It is easier for you to close your nose and your mouth when a stranger coughs around you. But you can easily kiss your wife when she's coughing and kiss your husband likewise. Is to tell that there's something you share with that person that even their disease and sickness is not strong enough to scare you away. Have you not seen that the tuberculosis ward in hospitals, that they ask people to isolate? Sometimes wives go there and stay with their husbands. It's because they are willing to accommodate and even carry the sickness the man has. This notion we have that when somebody makes a mistake in a relationship, it is good for divorce, is good for killing, is good for some rejection, is an error, a very, very big error. I have seen persons who got married very well. Along the line, they became beasts. Many things can push somebody to become a beast. You don't know when you be confronted. I've seen persons who got married very beautiful. Along the line, they became deformed. I've seen persons who got married very excited. Along the line, they became very moody, frustrated. I've also seen persons who got married very rich. Along the line, they became very poor. Those are unforeseen circumstances when you are getting married to somebody you should be ready for. We are not preaching curses. We are not prophets of doom. We are telling you practical realities that occur every day in, day out, as far as homes are concerned. It's just like you give birth to a very beautiful child. After some 3 to 4 years, the child becomes paralyzed. Will you throw away the child? No. You give birth to a child in the hospital only to find out the child is sickle cell. Will you throw the child? No. I've seen persons who give birth to children, the children end up as imbeciles. Will you throw away the child? No. Those are unforeseen circumstances in life. The same way you are entering into marriage, you should be ready for the good, the bad, and the ugly. This is what we are sounding to the ears of every person who intends to get married, those who are already married, and those who are thinking of separating from a partner because the partner has one deficiency, one weakness, one disadvantage or another that they did not have initially when they got married. No, my friend, You have come to share something deep. You have come to make a vow. You have bonded your souls together as one person. You've lived for some time. You even resemble each other. Of their basic necessities. Would you want a man that is super healthy, physically strong, and is a burden to you, or a man that is HIV positive yet meets all his needs as a parent in the house? Those are some of the things you have to put into consideration. One area of him is weak, that is his health. The other area is strong, and that is how we live in a home. Nobody has full strength. Somebody has strength in an area, the other person has a weakness in another area. Your weakness is complemented by my strength, and your strength complements my own weakness. Because marriage is a combination of two imperfect people. Don't ever assume that when you get married, it's going to be a bed of roses all through. You can get married to somebody who is very holy and sincere. Along the line, he starts going astray. He starts sleeping with women. You must adapt to the present situation. You can get married to a very decent woman. Sometimes spells are cast on people. Sometimes demonic influence of their foundations rise up against them. They start reacting strange. What you have to be doing is to make sure you join that person in fighting that battle to make it come to an end, rather than join the forces fighting him to push him more into the deep. And this is where most people have committed suicide. That you found out that a girl contaminated you with HIV. Why did the girl not kill the person also that contaminated her? Because that thing is a chain reaction. Somebody must have given the girl before the girl brought to you, and then the girl gave the thing to you. Instead for you to say, okay, this is a situation on ground, let us see what we can do, the both of us, to see how we can put an end to this rubbish so that it does not extend to the next generation. You get up and kill the person in question. Listen, killing that person does not cure the HIV in you, because if killing the person was curing the sickness in you, would have seen it as a solution. Killing the person does not help solve your own problem. You would definitely still be contaminated. So why would you carry out an engagement that does not benefit you or help you or add any value to you? If killing the person in question could cure the HIV in your system, would have said, okay, you have sacrificed the person for your health. But it doesn't change anything. And mind you, after you are killing that girl like that, or that boy, you may also want to go and marry another person who is not HIV positive. And now if the person accepts you in that situation. Because most of the guys who will kill persons for giving them HIV are the ones that will freely go and sleep with other girls without telling them that they have HIV. They are judging people for what they are also victims. They are killing somebody for the same crime that they are going to commit in the nearby future. Because you won't tell them that after killing that girl, you will not go after another girl. You are not a eunuch. HIV does not make you impotent. It does not make you lose your erection. It does not make you lose your emotion. It does not make you lose your sexual drive. You will still have that sexual drive. You have not become a eunuch. You've not become impotent. You will still have that desire to go after women. Are you telling us that in that situation where you are, every girl you want to sleep with, you will tell the girl that you're HIV positive? Why would you be a judge over a case you are also a criminal about?
Okay. Greetings from Bomenda, Belamen, Mr. Liu. What Apostle Ambe is saying is very true. I like the program. You guys should keep on. Good evening, sir. I'm Wesley Bright, writing from Kumba. Killing someone is never the solution. If you are married already, then you both can take treatment for it, but killing might just get you more into trouble. Good evening, Mr. Kum. What about a person who accepted to get married to an infected man who has HIV? 1 Corinthians 13 teaches us about law of true love. Killing a partner because he or she is infected you with a deadly disease or gross deceit will not treat you. Dear televiewers, let's stay safe rather than killing our partners for errors they commit. A bell is writing from Makene. Mr. Liu, partners should not kill for being infected. What they should do is confirm from a doctor. Good evening, Mr. Kum. What about a lady who has decided to get married to a man who is infected with AIDS? Nadine is writing from Bomenda. Good evening again to everyone in the studio. I just want to add a little contribution. I think condoms should be sold even at a higher price and not given for free. And sanitary pads should be given for free. Because menstruation is not by choice, but sex is. Wesley, okay. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I want to thank God for the learned men of God who are on the panel. HIV and AIDS is not a death sentence. People prefer HIV than diabetes. Joyce is writing from Kumba. Good evening, Mr. Liu and the panelists. Please extend my greetings to the panelists, especially the Iron Lady. When I met my wife, she was foolishly in love with a guy. The way I seized her from that guy because he was maltreating her. I loved her so much and got married to her, and I have never regretted my decision because I still love her. Sometimes she will decide to put too much salt in the soup, but I still love her. There are lots of things she confessed to me when she discovered that none of her crimes can deter me. So marriage is a choice. Kenneth is writing from Yaoundé. Good evening, all in the house. Thank you for this show. Please always ensure we only talk marriage on Tuesdays. It's really helpful program. Thank you for that. Now, just because marriage is for better or for worse, doesn't give a partner the right to cheat, thinking their partner will just forgive them and things will get back to normal. It's something we should fight against and stop it. In fact, it's only ground on which the Bible permits a divorce. It's true. We can try to forgive in a case it happens, but the grace for better, for worse should not be taken for granted. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I enjoy the program. I'm learning a lot. It's Benji writing from Magba. Hello, Mr. Leo. Good evening. I love the topic. I had a friend who hid her positive status from the fiancé. They finally got married when she put to bed the first child. She made the husband to know about her HIV status. The husband left the house the next day and never returned. Better than to kill. I was writing from Bamenda. Good evening, Mr. Liu, and the panelists on board. Please, I have this question that I need to ask. Please, I have a girlfriend. We have been dating for a while now, and this girlfriend has 3 children with a different man, and she's attending one Pentecostal church. This girl said a prophet said to her that I'm not her husband to be. Even the father of the 3 kids is not her husband. So please, at this point, what should I do? And 2 of us were really in love to the point that we can go to the extreme end to make each other happy. Please, I need advice from you people. Simon is writing from Bonaberi in Douala. You're going to have an answer from one of them. Good evening, sir. This is a good platform for marriage education. Marriage is for better and for worse. If marriage is an institution, means it's a school, then it's a learning ground. We learn from those who have been there for years and listen to their advice. Pastor Ivo is writing from Diboncha. Good evening to everyone in the house. I'm happy for this program. All what you guys are saying is happening with me and my wife right now. All what Apostle Ambe is saying is really touching me. Please, Apostle, I need your number. Frank is writing from Kumba. Now, can you help a brother who says they are in love with a lady, but the man of God says this is not your husband, and the father of your kids is not also your husband? What are you telling Simon? Because Simon said they are madly in love. Maybe it's infatuation now.
The husband, the
man of God.
The man of God said that it is not the husband. And that is what we are trying to deal with in our churches today, where we think that the men of God should be able to allow people to take decisions for what they want. They can give their advice, and but going to the point that they say it's not their husband is a challenge. I've seen that a lot, especially in some of our mainline churches. They have that particular challenge where you want to marry, you have to go through some kind of rigorous, hypocritical kind of counseling and some kind of things that finally the pain become very useless. Sometimes if you want to think some of the counseling sessions that you went, you even regret why you went for some of those counseling sessions. That's why you see people even run and go to different churches now to go and marry, because you want to marry from these things. But also, the people need to understand When you want to marry, sometimes people can tell you, wise people can tell you, they can advise you. Your parents can advise you, your pastor can advise you. They can tell you that this particular lady, from analysis, from the findings, and from some things that we have looked into it, we see that you may not want to work with it. Because people also know your likes and your dislikes. Especially those who have dealt with you for a very long time. They know your likes and your dislikes. So they know that a particular lady will not go. That is why we say that people should not fall in love. They should go in love. Understand love. Don't get into love and say, I have fallen in love. We are madly in love. What happened that you entered into madly in love with someone that you're not yet married to?
Love is blind now.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Now, when they say love is blind, it's not true. Love is very visible. Love see. Yes, love see. Love see. True love sees. They see things, but they decide to continue and to go ahead. True love decides to forgive. True love knows this is what the case is, but they forgive and they move ahead. But now when you begin to get into an emotional embankment, especially those that understand how to do romance and everything very well, and you think that you can remain there because of it, I tell you, a lot of times, like, I used to tell people that if you see a particular lady keep on sleeping outside with different men, and then you keep on forgiving her, she's only doing that, please leave that lady. Don't try to push it too hard. Leave it. Because when you want to go and push those things too hard, you may find yourself in a situation where, one, you carry diseases. Two, you may end up be a victim of the other people that are sleeping with the woman you are claiming that you want to marry. So if your pastor can see these things and tell you, sometimes find out the records of your pastor to see whether what he used to say used to come to pass. That is how you begin to check on all those things, because it is common. It is common today. We see that in the churches today. People don't want to take instruction, they don't want to take advice. And after 2 months in marriage, they want to separate. After 1 month in marriage, they want to separate. After 1 year, they want to separate. Because of what? When people were calling their attention, they don't want to hear about it. Like those who used to see, you see somebody with leukemia, you see somebody with some kind of deadly diseases, but you say you love, you want to enter into marriage. Let me tell you something. Not everybody should get married. Let me make it again very clear. Not everybody. Marriage is not for everybody. Marriage is not for everybody. Paul made it very clear that some people are supposed to stay like that. There are some people that are eunuchs. They are supposed to stay like that. Especially some people with some strange diseases that after that is going to disturb your marriage. I tell you, it should not even go ahead. It should not even try it. Because some people even go to the point where they see that all of them are AS, and then they know that there's an opportunity for them to give birth to sickle children. And at the end of the day, what happens? You go and begin to torment a child that you brought to earth, seeing the child suffering every day in the name of you love that person. Be careful. Love is not a blind situation. Love is not something that you just jump into it and get.
I'll take some messages, and some persons would still want Madam Fontinglet to answer some of their worries. I hope the messages just coming. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I have been following the program keenly. I really appreciate Apostle Ambe's contributions. Can I have Apostle Ambe's number, please? Mukete George writing from Boya. First, the couples have to know that they have a vow to make. They have to tell themselves that they will stand by each other for better or for worse. So there is nothing wrong for a man of God to ask them if they will stand by each other for better or for worse. Yes, that is what we are talking. But we are talking of better for best. That is, the man of God is telling you that there's no worst. You are going in just to get the best. Okay. Good evening, Prime Apostle Ambe is God sent to this country. Each time he is on set, I must gain. Okay. Someone says, Apostle, I need your number. I am in a situation you just described, and my wife just left the house. Okay, I'll send you Apostle's number so that you get to him. Good evening, Mr. Lee. I want to ask this question that has been bothering me. What if you want to get married and your partner to be didn't tell you he was infected, he or she was infected? You only discover after marriage. In a case like this, what should be done? Note that this marriage was based on lies. Ntu is writing from Limbe. What would you do? That is a marriage that is based on lies. Not only the fact that maybe the status was hidden, the health status was hidden. Maybe this person tells you that my parents are ministers. You know, there are so many persons who are taken into relationships like that, found it unnice. What do you do when you already land yourself in such a situation?
Well, he himself, he is already established, or we already establishing that the marriage was built on a faulty foundation, which means lies were actually at the beginning of it all. So many people fall into these traps because sometimes they are carried away with the love. We talk of love. You just mentioned here that love is blind or something, and you do not want to look at the realities.
Does it not do their
or better
profiling?
still, like Apostle said, you saw the red flags. You saw the fact that it wasn't going to be a good one, but you were carried away, and you didn't even want to pay attention to that. And before you know, you find yourself into such a situation.
Yeah, but in a health situation where somebody actually looks healthy, how would you know?
That is exactly what we are saying. We have said here that one of the prerequisites for you to get married is that you go for your medical checkup to be sure that your partner, though looking healthy, is in good condition, and you yourself, you ascertain your own health situation. But now he's talking about already in that shoe, it has happened. He, for one reason or the other, did not actually consider going to the hospital to understand the health checks of the spouse, and kind of accepted what the spouse was saying and thought they were true. It was all true to say, no, I'm fine, I do not have HIV, I don't have this, I don't have this, I don't have it. Sometimes accepting things out of mouth testimonies which can actually be tested is not correct. Why rely on what somebody says when you can actually go for a hospital control and let the hospital tell you that this is actually the health situation of this person before I get married? So those are negligence. That's negligent. You actually neglected such a sensitive aspect of your life and of your marriage, which by the time at one point you find yourself in a fix, you don't even know what decision to take at this point. But as it stands right now, it now depends on the risks. The person has to weigh the risks of keeping their partner and going ahead, looking for solutions, or letting go. You have to weigh the risks. What's the risks? Have I actually been infected too? Or how do I see it? You've already taken a vow.
Yes, but away from the fact that maybe they hit a disease from you, they might have deceived you. Because I read a situation recently where a guy actually presented some high-profile personalities in Ivory Coast to a lady, deceiving her that those were the parents. Actually, the parents were some very broke guys somewhere, but the guy brought some high-profile persons here who work at the presidency. That is, the lady was going into this relationship, in this marriage, knowing that I'm getting married to.
It means you actually, the foundation was faulty. You actually, when it was marriage of interest, you didn't go because you loved that person. You went because the person presented the situation to you. The person presented that my parents, I'm from a high-profile family, we have riches and all of that. And you were not going because you loved that person. Because love in any case, whatever you discover along the line, if you loved that person, you will still move ahead. Okay. But if you went because of what that person told you, then you are not doing marriage, you're not doing love, you are doing marriage of interest. And you will be disappointed. A lot of expectations. You have been expecting that, okay, this lady is from a wealthy family, and because the father is a minister, is a governor and all of that, when I get married to her, I'll have opportunities of getting jobs and all of that. I know I'm married to a rich girl. And before you know it, the reverse becomes true. So you get disappointed along the line. You did not get married for love. You went for the money that you wanted to get from the girl, and you are disappointed. So it's left for you to bear it. To bear it, because that is not a concept of marriage. You are actually drifting out of the main concept of marriage. We are talking here about marriage. The concept, God's mind, God's concept about oneness in marriage. The real essence of it, you're getting married to a partner with whom you want to live for the rest of your life. Yes, it got faulty. And you yourself, you were not even going there because you actually wanted to live with that person, but because you wanted to gain something out of that relationship. And if you find out that that's how it gets to be, then you have to bear it. It's left for you to decide, because no one is ever going to tell you that you have to divorce that person. It's your choice. Okay. It's your choice. What did you get into that marriage for? Why did you get married to that lady or to the man?
Okay.
So it's now left for you. Either you're breaking out of that relationship, or you have to continue and you have to adapt to the real situation. Because one thing about marriage is adaptability. When if things get sour, you have to adapt.
Okay. Good evening to you, His Royal Highness Njibon Samuel. It's my father. Actually, I grew up with him out there in Womb. I'm glad to note that you are watching the program from the house out there at GTC Junction. Hope everybody around GTC Junction Womb is doing well, and everybody watching from that part of the nation. Now, but we have seen cases where a man takes the life or either commits suicide. We've seen it severally, especially when they discover that their wives deceived them, that these children were theirs only for them to discover that maybe these children belong to a neighbor. The wife has been sleeping with a neighbor, and then this man has been growing these children thinking they were his.
Lack of emotional intelligence.
Okay.
Is the reason why somebody will kill himself because of such an atrocity. It's true that if you find out tomorrow that your wife has been cheating on you, and all the kids you've been training, grooming, and growing are not your children, it may give you a heart attack, it may give you some kind of shock. But if you are not caught up with a heart attack or a heart failure, I don't see the reason why you have to commit suicide or drink some poisonous substance to die or go jump into the sea. Like I saw a man who realized lately that all the kids he's been growing, matured men and women for almost about 40 years, are not his children. He jumped into the lagoon in Lagos.
Okay.
And died, drowned himself. The children struggled, cried, held him, Papa don't go, Papa don't go. The fact that the children were crying and holding you, know they acknowledge you as the father. Number two, it's your name they are bearing in their birth certificate. Thirdly, the society knows they are your children. You are the one who have been responsible for their upkeep till they have grown. They will never in any way turn their back on you tomorrow. Let that story that your wife cheated outside remain a rumor, because the children know who actually is their father. They can't discover a father at the age of 40 years when somebody has been sitting in front of them, molding them, sending them to school, grooming them up. The children did everything they could to hold the man, and the man jumped inside the sea and died. It could be that the man was unproductive. He was unable to impregnate a woman. What is wrong if somebody by chance did that and then now you own the children? We are not tolerating. I'm just trying to explain a scenario here. Killing yourself is not a solution. It isn't a solution. I know of a case where a woman got pregnant from some priest while the husband was right there and did not know that he could not give birth to children. But the wife kept delivering children, and the man was excited, thinking that it's his children, until he fell sick and went to the hospital. Tests were conducted that he had an accident some years back, and part of his spine had a challenge that he could not impregnate a woman. He discovered that after he had grown the children to the age of 35 years, he kept the secret to himself and lived with the children happily, and it remained a secret till eternity. So, how will you manage that kind of situation? Will you go and kill yourself? Killing yourself does not solve the situation, because committing suicide in the first place is a crime before God. It's a crime against your own life. So you are committing a crime over something that has been committed. It means people are the ones that determine if you are going to live or not. You have to live a life on earth here that nobody's attitude should be strong enough to decide if you are going to exit the earth or stay here. You should be the one to say, okay, my time to stay here is over. I don't want to stay here anymore. I don't see whether a crime of a woman, a man, a child, a friend, a colleague is strong enough to take me or take away my life out of this space called earth. It's absolutely impossible. So you may go and get pregnant with 50 children, and you come. If I know very well that the children know me as their father, and I'm the one who have grown them all, and they bear my name, because you don't own a child by impregnating a woman. You own a child by legal, a legal process. It's a legal process that acknowledges that that child is your child. The name the child carries, the birth certificate, and the marriage certificate the woman has is what shows that they are your children. That man cannot come from anywhere by the law to seize those children. Secondly, they have grown to know you as their father. You are the one that groomed them up and educated them.
How do you stomach? How do you bear the shock of the fact that you have been living with this woman who would be having an affair with maybe a neighbor or some other person, and is telling you that these kids belong to
Mr. Lawyer, I will not pretend it won't be easy to handle, but it should not be a reason enough for you to take away your life.
Okay.
What I'm trying to drive home here in the heart of our point is that, listen to me, it's going to be a very difficult situation. You are going to pass through emotional torture for some time, but you will get healed, because no wound lasts forever. But it should not be strong enough to take away your life. Don't kill yourself because of somebody's error.
Okay. But in such a situation, because there are many parents, there are many people living under situations like this, how do you handle it? That you discover that these kids are not yours. It is true, the bond is already there, they acknowledge you, but deep in you, you know these are not my kids, and the fact that your wife has been cheating constantly, and because if you have 1, 2, 3, 4, it means that the wife actually has been sharing. Your wife had 2 husbands, you and the other guy who has the kids, yes. And maybe your family, because such things, when they come out, it also creates complex family problems.
Yes. This thing is very painful. Let's not take it lightly. It's very painful and hurting. It has happened in so many homes, and people have divorced, people have left the situation, people have left the scene and go away. I will not tell you to just bear the shock like that. I will tell you to just go sometime, just take yourself apart, because that thing alone can kill you. Even if you don't kill yourself, it can kill you, because it can, high blood pressure can come, and then you just pop, you're on the ground, or cardiac arrest or something. Some people have not trained themselves for shock. Let me tell you, each and every one of us, as you're getting married, you're planning to get married, you have to prepare yourself for shocks. How do you prepare yourself for shocks? Start learning how to take shocks from some other things. But when some other bigger things come, you must have handled the other things. Like I used to say that, man, we don't see 99 or the fear 100. That is how it is. We are just trying to tell people to train themselves to be shock absorbers. Train yourself. You know, culture shock. You must learn how to adapt to culture shock. You must learn how to adapt to behavioral shocks. You must learn how to adapt to rejection. You must learn how to adapt to disappointments. You must learn them. That you don't have a choice, you must learn them. I have learned the hard way. I grew up the hard way. So I've learned how to forgive. I've learned to forgive extremely. This is not a joke. I forgive people per second, because it took me a long time to train myself that way. Now, but sometimes you just need to take yourself off. Go somewhere. I used to do that. Even right now, even if I'm not disappointed or whatever, if I feel that I'm pressured, sometimes I don't want to go along with anybody. I want to go alone. Just stroll, just go around, just buy water, drink, buy something, just feed yourself, buy chicken, chop, just relax yourself. Put yourself in a condition where you can think. You can think. The more you think, sometimes don't keep that thing and begin to say you want to man it. No, talk it out. Sometimes you need to talk. Just talk. Just be moving and talking. Just sit somewhere and talking. If you want to shout, shout. If you want to cry, cry. Feel free to express yourself. Just express yourself. Just talk. Please, these are things I am telling you. People have died because they want to claim they can man some things. I beg you, if it means that you have to cry, cry. If it means you have to shout, shout. Just go somewhere and do that, scream and shout. And then tell yourself that you're a man. tell yourself that the better days of your life are ahead. Tell yourself that God brought you on this earth for a purpose. Just that you have not yet discovered why God brought you to the earth. That is exactly what you should be thinking in your life. Because when you think of taking away your life, the truth about it is that you're going to go to hell. Yes, and then you will be wasted. See, even in your funeral, people will not even give that honor they give to the dead, because you must have wasted your life. And then let me tell you, some of you will easily go to send your hand to want to kill somebody. You will carry that shock and enter prison, and you will meet other shock in the prison that is going to be more dangerous than that shock. Those who are in prison are suffering for doing those kind of things. I tell you, it is never a light thing. So we are trying to tell you, this thing we are taking our time to talk like this. Please don't take it as a joke. We talk to people every day. We meet people with situations that are stronger than your own. We talk with people and we share experiences. That is exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. Because sometimes some women can be very difficult with information. Women can be difficult with information. Sometimes you want to know the things that you are going through. You see, you look at that woman, beautiful woman, but she has a dark heart which is not ready. She's not ready to open up for any reason. 3 children. 1, 2, 3. She never told you. And you are smiling with her every day. You are eating with her every day. But thank God that she did not kill you. Thank God that she didn't put poison in your food and kill you before time. You only discovered it. And then you are alive. She didn't kill you. She didn't destroy you. So take your time and come out of the shock. Take your time and build it. Now, let me tell you another thing. Let me tell you. Don't be quick to reject them. Don't be quick. Don't be quick. If you discover some things and then you can still stay in the relationship, your relationship can never remain the same. That's the truth. It will not remain the same because, 1, trust will never be reinstated. Number 2, people will take it serious. That if after all these things we can still stay in this relationship, it means that it's a serious thing. And people will now be careful the way they behave. So I tell you, train yourself to bear shock. Train yourself. Now, as a man, you must learn how to cry. Please, learn how to cry. Don't tell yourself that, that crying, I'm waiting, I know they cry, but man picking. Learn how to cry. You may not shout it, you may just shed tears. You may just go behind and do your man things. You know, those kind of man things. You know? Tell yourself, tap your chest, you're a man. Tap your chest. Just do like this baboon and this chimpanzees, this big gorillas. You know, no matter how you hit them, they get up and they hit their chest. They hit their chest. They hit their chest and shake their head that I'm a man. That is what a man is. A man is meant to bear shock. A man is meant to take nonsense. A man is meant to take difficult things that come their way. I'm telling you, if you don't train yourself, you cannot face the nation. Some of you want to change the world. You want to change nations. And then your own small shock you get in your marriage, you are killing yourself. You want to kill yourself. You're finished.
Let's take another intervention from Mr. Esingie Yvette from Bamenda, the Northwest Regional Capital.
Please, if you are dating somebody and you want to go do HIV test, both of you should go and do the HIV test together. Don't send somebody to go and do the HIV test. People have framed up fake results and just to come and show you that they are negative, whereas they are not. So when we talk about HIV/AIDS, it is real. The case in Boya is just one amongst many. Let our youth know that HIV is out there. We know that HIV does not kill anymore because once you've accepted your status, you live on drugs. But I still want them to understand that once you are HIV positive, you live with it for the rest of your life. We don't have a cure for HIV till date. Let's forget about whoever is saying. Once you're HIV positive, you're HIV positive. You live on drugs. And you know how they have to take their drugs. If you're taking it 7 a.m., it's 7 a.m. I mean, it should not be a few minutes after, say, 7 a.m. like the virus becomes active. So imagine that you have to be very, very prompt with your drugs. How many people can live like this? You don't have to drink some kind of things. We discourage things like Coca-Cola. We discourage things like eating cola nuts. So you have to live a kind of selective life just because you are positive. And moving about spreading it is not even a good thing because you are also weighing down your immune system. So HIV is real. I want to plead with the youths, especially the youths. I really cry for them. I cry for the youth, Mr. Leo. I don't know what becomes of them in the future. It's like tomorrow, before we count, out of 5 people, before we have 1 person that is HIV free, I mean, out of five people, we might have just about one person who is not having HIV. The rate at which it is spreading. I still want youth to know this. HIV is real. It bothers me. I don't know if it bothers you that is watching. If you've been living a reckless life, I think it's the right time. Go and know your status. It is earlier, the better. When you know your status early enough, you can start managing your viral load into the stage where it will not even grow to thousands. But if you don't know that the viral load, it's increasing, the virus is multiplying in your system, and if you see the speed at which it multiplies, you understand that if you're not careful within a short period of time, you can have a breakdown. So, Mr. Leo, I just want to say that our youth should be called to understand that HIV is real, and they should start living a better life. I always advise people, no sex before marriage, abstain. It will not kill you. Thank you, Mr. Leo.
Ms. Esingie, Yvette from Bamenda. I'll take some messages and then we roll on. Good evening, Mr. Leo. This is Pius writing from Yaoundé. Please, I would love to have Apostle Ambe's number. I really have a lot in mind to share with him and to get his advice. Stop calling, please. Good evening, Mr. Leo, sir. Mr. Man writing from Bamenda. I am in love with a girl. She always tells me that she's older than me. Please, I need some advice from you people. Help me. Good evening, Mr. Kum and the honorary panel. To the men of God in the house, I am a counseling psychologist in HIV care and treatment. And for my few years of practice, we have always had incidents of patients abandoning treatment because their men of God said they are healed and end up developing more complications. Please, what do men of God have to say about this? Peter is writing from Limbe. Good evening, Mr. Leo. Love nowadays is all about money, not like the woman love you is all about money. Okay, Maxwell is writing from Womb. Good evening, Mr. Kum and the honorary panel. Okay. Good evening to you all at the studio. I had a friend who died some months ago because he discovered that his 5 children are not his. Celine is writing from Yaoundé, exactly what we're talking about, Apostle. Mr. Leo, please let Apostle Ambe answer my question. What should I do with that spouse that didn't tell me she was HIV positive and I only discovered after marriage? Is that what pastors would tell me, that God hates divorce if I decide to divorce her? Good evening, Mr. Leo and panelists. Kudos to the brilliant topic, for we are enlightened. My worry is that what about the situation whereby one of the spouses have accepted the positive status of the other spouse, but this infected spouse has decided to spread the HIV to others and it came to the knowledge of the wife? What should that wife do? Tina is writing from Tico. Hello, Mr. Leo. Good evening to you and all in the studio. Please, I wish to ask Pastor Ambe this. In a situation where you have a girlfriend that you have been with for almost 5 years and all of you are healthy and fine, then you travel abroad and coming back after 3 years, continue your relationship just to find out 2 months that the lady got infected with HIV when you were out and she was already infected you with the virus and she knew she had it. What should I do in this condition? Apostle Ambe, there are many questions you would need to address. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I'm Sandra from Douala. I have a boyfriend and I made a mistake and he became mad at me. Even I've been begging for a while now, but he blocked me and he ignores me and I decided to end things. And right now I regret ending things. I want to fix things, but I don't know what to do. If I should text him or not, please, I need your advice. Text him, please. Good evening to the panelists. Interesting topic there, Mr. Liu. Please kindly help me with the contact of any of the counselors, preferably Madame Esingie, Yvette, who is in Bamenda, so I could meet her for one-on-one counseling. Sistus is writing from Bomenda. Sistus, can you just write me back on WhatsApp now so that I can send you Miss Asandri's number? Yes, some persons have called your attention here.
The first question you asked, being a HIV counseling psychologist, that many pastors will tell their Christians to stop taking, that they are healed and they will come and they will stop taking drugs, only to realize that their cases have become very critical. This is my advice, not to you, the counselor, but to the Christians. Now listen to me and listen very well. Medical science is a means through which God uses to heal as well as to sustain sickness. He uses it to heal as well as to sustain. In the book of Proverbs chapter 18 verse 40, he says, a man's spirit sustains his infirmity. He didn't say heal. There is another person that says he healed all your diseases and forgiveth all your iniquities. So sicknesses are either healed or sustained. This should sink deep. The antiretroviral drug was discovered, and it's by the mercy of God that drug was discovered to sustain you with the HIV status so you can live long on earth, enjoy your life, and still fulfill your purpose. Taking it is not a crime. Taking it is not faithlessness. Taking it is not stupidity. Number two, Jesus healed people based on, give them, if they hold on to what they want to hold on to, let them. Everybody has right over their lives. Coming to the young man that said you traveled abroad only to come back and realize that the girl you left behind is HIV positive. Thing to be afraid of. They're careless about anything because both of them have the same status. So now that you are living with somebody, you already have the same status with the person. It will be easier for both of you to live together, build a family, and
take your treatments. At that time, or anything about that time, go through the normal counseling sessions. There are hospitals. Hospitals are everywhere now that they can carry those counseling sessions, especially in government hospitals, the counseling, and start following your treatments and everything before you can now. At that particular point in time, keeping a relationship is not what you want to do. Keeping a relationship is not what you want to do. Sometimes I like to follow the facts. I will show you the front and I will show you the back so that you will not see and know how to make your choice in certain things. It is not time to romance your. It's really, really serious. Because psychologically speaking and emotionally speaking, you are drained. You are drained. You cannot muster the courage to go through the health processes, especially when you know how many people you have dealt with and how many people you have reduced to ashes or how many people you have reduced to nothing. So that is exactly what we are looking and talking about. Telling people, calling you to order and telling you that, okay, this particular thing has happened. It has happened. You cannot deny it for too long. You deny it first and then you find yourself into the situation. But now the society has also made provision for people of that condition to be able to walk freely, to be able to do. There's no stigmatization, even though some places they want to carry on some things because time by time you'll be sick and you will have one or two things because your immune system may not be that strong to manage some kind of things. But there are also drugs that can help your immune system to fight sicknesses that are going to come your way. So that is what we are saying, that don't ever see it as a problem when it has ability to know how to take somebody through a challenge and that person comes out. And it's not everybody. This thing we are talking here, not everybody has the ability to talk about. Not everybody can talk this thing and talk it so well the way we are doing it. You may think that, oh no, these people they're funny, they don't get time for one evening, they don't go for television, they go talk. Let me tell you something. We are experts. We have been into it and we are still learning, and we are still, every day when you call us and talk to us, we learn from your situation and we make investigations, we do research and also get solutions to certain problems. So don't kill anybody. Don't kill yourself. Don't enter into regret, too much regret. Instead, see yourself, because there is a way you would react to the sickness that the sickness can even leave your body. That's the truth. That's how healing comes. Okay, there's a way you react to it and it will even leave your body.
Good evening, Pa. It's Mbonge writing from Kumba. If you love a man or you are staying with him, the man leaves you and look for a woman aside, is good. If you have a wife stay with you, you go to leave her look for. Please tell me what I can do, because I did not know what can do now. He leaves me in the house and look for women outside. is that good if you love a man? Isn't bad to love a man? Okay, you are saying that your husband actually cheats, he abandons you and goes out for other women, Apostle Ambe. This is, you say, it's an evil, not to be encouraged, but that should. Good evening, Mr. Lee. I'm Sandra. Okay. Greetings to you all in the studio, Apostle. If you want to know the real father of your children, insult your neighbor's wife that she is a prostitute. A man got married in my quarter, and the first child the wife gave is the neighbor's child. Jeff is writing from Bamenda. Good evening, Mr. Liu. It's Adeline from Bamenda. I love your program. Just want to say there are more deadly diseases than HIV. Yeah. Greetings, Mr. Liu, and all the learned analysts. I wish to find out from the apostles, should a man or woman have a reason to go for marriage? If yes, what after the union you don't see the reasons you went for the union? What would be the fate? Stephen is writing from Yaoundé. Good evening, Pa. Okay. In life, I think people should learn to handle shock and find means to readapt to life, doing more of the things that makes them laugh. Killing someone or yourself should never be an option. Imagine being physically strong today, and the next moment a natural disaster makes you cripple, like myself. Remember, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. You are only seeing that the gravity of your case very big because you haven't seen that of others. It's Rosim Baku from Batibo. Please, I would love to have the apostle's number. Just write to me on WhatsApp, please, after this. Tani Liu is writing from Kambe. Please, you test first before you get into marriage, okay? Good evening, Mr. Liu. I'm enjoying the program. Mr. Liu, a man was buried on Saturday here in Bafut. He drank mokap and died simply because his wife insulted him, that he can't satisfy a woman and that the children are not his. Maybe it was just a joke or argument or an insult, but the man couldn't withstand it. Ta neighbor is writing from Bafut. Good evening, men of God. So happy with what you are doing. My experience was I ate with my wife's guy in our house and even bought him a drink, not knowing my wife was living already in full-time adultery. Female gender, some of you really need to repent. Cipro is writing from Yaoundé. Good evening, Mr. Leo. I'm Boris from Yaoundé. I'm in love with a Christian girl and the family don't want me. I'm an Islam. Please, I need some advice. The girl loves me, but the problem now is her family. Okay? Good evening, Mr. Kum. I am Pastor Kum from Bamenda. If a pastor tells you that you are healed, go back and do a test before you can start taking drugs. Many thanks to the senior apostle Ambe. You have perfectly answered my question. I wish all men of God have this mindset, this patience, keep falling prey. Mr. Liu, as the pastor was advising how to handle shocks, tears were flowing down my cheeks. He was so precise to the point, and it benefited me a lot because I am in such a situation and I will use his prescriptions. I was almost contemplating suicide. Thank you, man of God. Julius is writing from Yaoundé. Good evening, Mr. Liu. Let anyone who has been affected with HIV should visit Apostle John Chi in Ark of God Covenant Boya. I'm Atum Makapko. I have HIV and I have met a girl whom I love so much. I've proposed marriage to her and she has accepted, but I'm still keeping this secret. Is it advisable for me to tell her that I have HIV? Because our marriage is coming on the 23rd of November, writing from Megikum South region. Yes, I think you should tell the lady, yeah?
Yes, tell the lady that you are HIV positive. Tell the lady if she refuses to marry you, leave her to go away.
Okay. Good evening, Prem. Thanks a lot. Yes, on divorce is normal for me because of marriage incompatibility. Fredo, writing from Fumbot. Why do we focus only on HIV? Is hepatitis not as much dangerous? I'm Henry, writing from okay, I don't know whether is there HIV written on the screen there. I'm not sure. Okay, Madam Fontinglet, we're talking about deceit, gross deceit, not just anyone. To what extent or at what point should we actually be seen as not being able or forgiving because of the level to which a lie has been told to us as a partner? Say, what could a partner do that would warrant that you say, I cannot bear it?
There is nothing that is hurtful that is easy to bear.
Okay.
Everything that is hurtful that someone does to you, like from adultery, from lies, hiding, illnesses like what we are talking about, from your spouse, is hurtful. Insults, abuses, they are all hurtful to one another. It now depends on your ability to manage the hurt. Being able to manage, because we cannot really describe, like, to what extent can you want to say that some hurts are unforgivable. There are things that X can take that Y cannot take. Now it is relative and depends on the individuals in question here. It depends on what you can take and what you cannot take. There are others who will say, if I catch or I see my wife into adultery, I cannot take it, I'll divorce her. But somebody is ready to still accept her and is ready to still make marriage with her and live in that relationship. There are others who will say, if you come with an illness, I cannot take it. There are people who are strong enough to be able to handle the challenges when they come. It depends on individuals' ability to handle hurts when they come. I think one of the things we need to train ourselves, like Apostle Esingie was saying here, is the ability. When you get married, you need to learn the skills on how to manage hurt in relationship. It is a skill you learn, and if it cannot come naturally, you meet a therapist. You can go for counseling, and you will be taught on how to get healed from a hurt, how you can come out, how to handle conflicts in your marriage, how to get healed when your partner hurts you in one way or the other. It may not just come naturally or automatically for everybody. There are people whose only their personality types can permit them to easily forgive. They let go things to them. Well, it has happened, I can always let go. It's okay. They have a breath or two, they go out, they take they get to mix up with friends, and before they come home, they're getting healed from it. But there are persons that just because of their personality types, they keep it and it is within them. So for such cases, it is advisable that you get to a therapist, you meet somebody who can counsel you out of this situation, so that you know the steps. There are actually steps that you can take to come out from it stronger and better, and you can be able to manage the situation. If you can't do that alone, then seek help from experts. They will be able to help you out of it.
Okay, Apostle Ambe, Valentine, Ngwa, are we not all saying this because seemingly marriage is one of those institutions where almost everybody wants to go into it without taking lessons and preparing themselves, equipping themselves to actually master the art of how it functions?
Do you know that it is recently people started seeing the need to even ask advice about marriage? The idea about marriage, people studying or learning or going through a process of counseling before marriage is very recent. Our society in those days, as long as you can have erection and have feeling for a woman, you are good to go. The tradition gave us the understanding that once you attain a particular age, you are ripe for marriage. It's true. We have taught so many people about being ripe for marriage, but we have to teach them on being ready for marriage. Ripe for marriage has to do with maturity physically, bodily. Secondly, sexual characteristics. Ripe for marriage means probably you've got a job that you can be able to take care of a woman. Ripe for marriage means you are independent now. You have a house on your own, that you can stay there. You are just ripe. Ripe for marriage also means that you probably have the capacity to take care of children tomorrow. That is a means of livelihood. But ready for marriage is different. Ripe for marriage has to do with physical structure, infrastructure, financial structure. Ready for marriage has to do with mental capacity, spiritual maturity, a comprehension, a profound comprehension of the subject about marriage. And this has to do with you studying. This really has to do with you going through counseling. This one has to do with you sitting at the feet of those who have been there for some years to give you practical lessons. This one has to do with you meeting marriage therapists, meeting counselors that will guide you. It has to do with you listening to tapes about marriage. It has to do with you reading books about marriage. That is what makes you ready for marriage. It's not what makes you ripe for marriage. In Africa, we get married when we are ripe for marriage, not when we are ready for marriage. All these schools we have now today for counseling, marriage therapies, academy, did not exist in those days. Once you were matured enough, you have breasts, you've grown 18, 20 years, you are able to impregnate or carry pregnancy, you are ripe for marriage. Once you got a job as a young man, you graduate from school, there are persons who are working, have good salary, they are ripe for marriage, but they are not ready for marriage. There are individuals who have houses, they live there independently, they are ripe for marriage, but they are not ready for marriage. We have individuals also who can impregnate a woman, they are ripe for marriage, but they are not ready. That's why not everyone that impregnates a woman is a father. A father is far beyond impregnating a woman. It's the ability to consciously accept responsibility. So we have a lot of people, as a matter of fact, 90% of those who get married are ripe for marriage. For instance, I've graduated from school, I've got a degree, I just got a job, I'm ripe for marriage. At the age where I am right now, I'm 25, 26 years, I'm ripe for marriage. I have a house of my own, I have a little studio, a set of chairs, I no longer depend on my parents anymore, I'm ripe for marriage.
Okay.
But you have the mental capacity.
Okay, Apostle, we have to take a very short break to conclude after that.
Black.